Welcome to the MotUS Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership, and motivation. Co-hosted by Stacy Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the MotUS Edge.
Hello, and welcome to the MotUS Edge. We are so excited to have you guys here today. We are celebrating Independence Day. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I got some quiz for everybody before we get started.
Okay.
So let's start with Kevin. Let's put him on the spot. What does Independence Day celebrate? Who are we independent from?
England.
Okay.
I mean, the original. Going back to the Revolutionary War. I'm a huge fan of Paul Revere. The British.
Is that a trick question?
Yeah, I was like,
Some people don't know.
Think about it for a second. Yeah, one of the several years ago, I took my family up to. We did a New England round trip and did lots of Revolutionary War stuff and patriotic things in that part of the country. We actually had Thanksgiving dinner at Plymouth Rock.
Oh, wow.
On their 400-year anniversary. It was a few years ago. It was pretty awesome. But just did some really cool tours in Boston and New England area that had lots to do with the Revolutionary War. It was pretty cool.
I take for granted that growing up a Yankee, Liberty, go to see the Liberty Bell and all the things in Philly, the Franklin Institute. That was kind of part of my everyday life. And we went to DC often, honestly, from New Jersey for school trips, field trips, all kinds of things. I'm sure I marched a time or two in DC as a kid. And just, but down here in the South, it's not that common, for you Southerners really to participate and have access to all of those things.
When Christy did the Boston Marathon a few years ago, we took the boys up there and we did the Freedom Trail in Boston.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. That was really, really cool. So if anyone gets a chance to do that, it's free and you walk and it's so historic. And what I think is different from the Northeast and where we live now in the Southeast, everything's just been around longer. There's so much more history, I feel like, with the buildings and the restaurants and, how, everything you read in the history books, it all occurred right there. So it's definitely worth the trip.
Casey, what were you going to say?
Fun fact, I've never been to Washington, D.C.
Really?
Ever.
I think we need to take a trip.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's do an event there.
I think we need to take a trip. Well, what does everybody plan on doing? What is your typical go-to for the 4th of July?
Mine is the lake. Sorry, Kevin. We do that lake every year. One of my really good friends' birthdays on July 3rd. So we go to the lake cabin and kind of the typical stuff, grill out hot dogs, hamburgers, eat, hang out, take the kids tubing, ride the jet skis, do all that fun stuff, get a sunburn.
Awesome.
We do a pool party. We usually host a pool party with neighbors and family and friends and staff and friends from church and all the things. And we cook burgers and dogs and play some music. And so we've had anywhere from 50 to 100 people at a pool party. So we do those all through the summer, but 4th of July is always a good one. So, and then our neighborhood does an amazing fireworks show, literally 20-minute show. It's better than some small towns and communities too. They have a couple of guys that really blow it out and they collect money for it through the whole neighborhood. And they do a show that several hundred people will go watch.
So we actually do the same thing. That's what our neighborhood does. So I live in a cul-de-sac in my neighborhood. And since we've lived here, so 10 years now, we have a block party in the cul-de-sac. So it started with the cul-de-sac that I live in, and all of the neighbors get together. We chip in money for food and for fireworks. And one of my neighbors brings his grill out and we do hot dogs, hamburgers, barbecue, all kinds of different things. And then everybody brings a side and we get tons of fireworks and we shoot them right off in the cul-de-sac. And it is terrifying. It's terrifying every year. But it is pretty cool. And after the first year, all the other cul-de-sacs in the neighborhood started doing the same thing. And so now it's like a contest of who can have the best fireworks. So there's fireworks going off everywhere, which is pretty cool. So that's what we'll be doing this year as well.
Well, we used to do it like that until I felt like I was going to burn our house down, and we had all this debris in our pool. And so now we do it at the front of the neighborhood in a massive parking lot up in a big field. And so we have caught the field on fire a couple of times. So they do some massive amount of fireworks. So we outgrew our cul-de-sac because we have a professional guy that does the real things now. It's crazy. So
nice.
But yeah, that's where we were many years ago until the debris.
I'll send you some videos
scary.
of ours. It's pretty professional.
Mine has kind of evolved over the years because I mean, much like you guys. So my neighborhood, heck, I think it was 2 neighborhoods ago. I had this neighbor, and he and I became really good friends, and we were competitive in everything. And the first 4th of July, he was like, "Oh yeah, I do the biggest fireworks show in the neighborhood." And I was like,
"Not anymore.
Not anymore, you don't." So I was like, "I'll show you." So yeah, he was like, "I spent $500 on fireworks." So I was like, "All right, I'm going to spend $550 on fireworks." And over the next 5 or 6 years, that became so insane. And literally I would take like a lot of folks from work, and we would drive up to Tennessee. You couldn't buy them in Georgia at the time. They were illegal. And we would drive up to Tennessee. And I remember just walking through the fireworks store with buggies, and we'd have to take multiple cars because it wouldn't even fit in one truck. And the bill grew way past $500.
Yeah.
And
I would imagine if you're filling a truck or 2.
Oh, it was insane.
That's too funny.
And then I got a little paranoid because some people didn't know what they were doing. I remember, the mortars that you drop down in the tubes.
Yeah,
I remember one guy, he just lit one of those and he didn't drop it in the tube. So I was like, oh my goodness, we're about to put out some little kid's eye or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got a little paranoid, and we were spending so much money. One year I told Heather, I was like, we need to go out of town. That'll be a lot cheaper than the firework party.
Right.
That's fun.
That's too funny. That's too funny. So for those of you that are not watching on YouTube, we're all decked out in our red, white, and blue today. And I'm actually wearing a headband with stars that lights up. It's blinking and flashing.
Yes.
It's pretty fun stuff. We have
I've got my red, white, and blue, red, white, and yellow
nice.
right here.
Lucky duck.
Lucky duck.
And we have 2 dad jokes for you guys today to celebrate this amazing holiday. So Casey, why don't you tell us your dad joke first?
Well, hold on. I got to find it.
All right, Casey. Casey wasn't ready, so we'll start with Kevin.
I am ready. I'm ready now.
Okay. All right.
Why are there no knock-knock jokes about America?
I don't know.
Because freedom rings.
Oh, boom. I love that. That's a good one.
Damn.
Yes. Freedom does ring, doesn't it?
And that was sent to us by somebody, Stephanie. It was actually in Florida. Submitted. So thanks, Stephanie. Keep the jokes coming. We love when you guys send them in. So awesome. Thank you.
I believe that was Steph's second submission. She is a fan of the dad jokes.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Kevin, what's your dad joke for today?
What did the American flag say to the great state of North Carolina flag?
Far away.
I don't know.
Nothing. It just waved.
I like Casey's better
today. Oh my goodness.
It's not like we have a choice here. We send whatever Stacy tells us to. So it's not my fault. Stacy sends the better jokes to Casey because he's got lower self-esteem and he needs to laugh here or there. So
I am known for my low self-esteem. That's for sure.
I appreciate that you think I put that much thought into the joke selection.
Well, just for the audience, we come up with some really great dad jokes, but Stacy kills them. And she says it's not appropriate. We can't say that. So we can say it to each other, but then it stops.
Stacy and I actually send a couple on the side now because we're both on TikTok. My son's on TikTok. She's on TikTok for a book and different things like that. So there's a couple groups on TikTok that do the dad jokes. So we've shared a couple of those.
The headband was squeezing my skull. I had to take it off. I felt like my brain was going to come out of my cranium.
Where does the 4th of July rank for y'all as your top holidays? It's my number 2. It's my second favorite. Christmas is my favorite, but I think 4th of July is my second favorite.
I don't know. I think Christmas is definitely my favorite holiday. I really actually kind of enjoy Thanksgiving too. Mm-hmm. So I might have to say 4th of July or Independence Day is third, but I don't know. It's a toss up. It's a close second, might be second. Depends on the year, but it didn't used to be one of my favorites because honestly in the Northeast, we can't do as many fun things as we do here. So you get arrested. But here in the South, since I've moved to the South,
you shoot fireworks off.
Yeah, we do our little block party. It's been a really kind of fun thing for our kids to grow up doing and a good tradition. And so I don't know. It's kind of, it depends on the year, but I like Christmas and Thanksgiving too.
Shoot some guns, hooting and hollering.
Growing up in Wyoming, the 4th of July is so downplayed because the next weekend is rodeo weekend. Mm-hmm. So the parade and the festival and the carnival, and it's the largest one round go around rodeo in the world in Sheridan, Wyoming. So it's like 4th of July, we didn't do anything because the next weekend, the whole world showed up in Sheridan, Wyoming for the rodeo weekend. So that's where the parade and literally all the things were the following weekend. So I can remember growing up thinking 4th of July was nice. I mean, we might do a sparkler or two, but it was not that as exciting because the rodeo weekend was the next weekend. It was like the biggest holiday. It still is. Doing an amazing rodeo experience. Sheridan, Wyoming, second week in July, always. So, but I do love 4th of July because we have so many pool parties. It's just one of the many during the summer. So
I'm just an old man now. I remember as a young man taking my kids down to the Marietta Square, and we'd have to show up 4 hours early, and we'd go buy pizzas from Marietta Pizza and sit out there, put our blankets out and all that. And it was an awesome, awesome time. But now I'm just like, gosh, I don't want to go down there and all the crowd. I don't want to fight the traffic. I just want to sit around.
Yeah.
It's amazing how things change a little bit. So yeah, ours has kind of evolved into, we pretty much just have if we're in town, we have the family over, and we typically don't go anywhere for vacation on 4th of July or anything because everything is so crowded. So
yeah,
same.
I spent last summer, not last summer, 2 summers ago, 4th of July, I spent in Southport, North Carolina, where my brother lives, and my novels, my novel trilogy or whatever takes place in Southport. And 4th of July there is like, it's like everything. Mm-hmm. Thousands of people converge on this tiny little town to celebrate the 4th of July. They do all kinds of festivities. They even have like a naturalization ceremony or whatever you call it, where they, it's really something to see. It's pretty awesome.
I can literally, because I've read these books, I can literally visualize that town in my head, which is a testament to your writing, because I feel like I have been there.
Well, if you've never been, I highly suggest going to Southport, North Carolina for the 4th of July week. It's pretty awesome. So, well, we hope that you guys all have an amazing Independence Day celebration. Enjoy time with family and friends and fireworks and cookout and all the things. And we will be back next week with a more typical podcast. So y'all have a great holiday week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Happy 4th.
Awesome. Everybody have a great holiday.
Safe.
Happy
God
4th.
Thank you for listening to the MotUS Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmotus.com. The MotUS Edge podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.